Hello, welcome to the Ealing Road podcast. Immediate reaction following Brentford 5, Wolves 2 from my car before I go home from the game. So, where do I start with this one? The lineup, I guess I wasn't surprised to see Yanel and Norgard back in. Obviously, Carvalho dropped to the bench. Part of me thinks it's a good thing that we had an attacker on the bench. Obviously, it turned out that we were ahead in the second half, but if, like the West Ham game last week, we perhaps needed somebody to come in the second half and make a difference, turn the game in our favour, I think it's helpful to have an attacker like that on the bench. I personally would have gone with Sharda on the bench and Carvalho maybe in that false nine. I still want to see a bit more from Sharda. I mean, we've discussed before on the podcast, we don't really think that he's necessarily an out-and-out centre forward. I think he's better on the wing. I think obviously today he had a couple of one-on-ones as well, which he unfortunately didn't take. And I think even Carvalho, in terms of someone you can play off in the middle, is someone who can do that. He can do those intricate bits of play. He can play off the other attackers. So maybe that's the only change I potentially would have made. It doesn't surprise me at all that Thomas Frank persisted with Yanel. He obviously is one of Thomas Frank's favourites and is someone I guess you can trust in the middle there. Moving on to the game. Wow. So, we continued our record of scoring an early goal. It was 1 minute 17 seconds this time, so not quite breaking the record again in terms of scoring in the first minute of games. What was different about this one is we didn't even kick off. So obviously in the other games when we scored early, we had the kickoff and we obviously played that long ball forward. Wolves kicked off this time, so I thought that was part of a strategy to essentially stop us from being able to do what we normally do from kick-off straight from the start of the game. But still, we won the ball, we got it forward, and Nathan Collins still found himself popping up in the box. So it's clearly a strategy we have, even when we don't kick off, to get numbers forward when we get the ball for that first attack and to try and catch the opposition cold. So again, another great start. Didn't last very long. A few minutes later, Wolves scored, and at that point I was very frustrated. I think it's obviously well known now the last few games that we scored very early on. We've not held on to that lead. We've not won any of the games. And, you kind of thought that it might be a bit more of the same when they scored just a few minutes later. I thought we weren't getting tight enough to them. I thought even in the couple of minutes before, in between the goals, when Wolves were playing it around, we weren't getting close enough. We weren't getting tight enough, and we were punished for that. Next, I'm just trying to work out in my head in what order things happened because it was a crazy first half. Next, obviously, we took the lead again with the penalty. It was difficult to see and analyse whether I think that's a penalty from where I was sitting. I think regardless whether it was or wasn't, sometimes they go for you, sometimes they go against you. We talked a lot in the podcast about the fact that we maybe should have had one last week. So it's nice to see that they do get given. And obviously, Brian again from the spot. He's been so reliable. I don't think he's missed for us yet. So, again, there might be another record for him further down the line if he can keep scoring his spot kicks. And then kind of more the same. I thought both teams are quite open at the back in the first half, especially. And again, for their second equalising goal, I can't remember what centre back it is, but the striker was just so much more alert in the middle of the box to get the finish away. I can't remember whether it's Collins or whether it's Pinnock in the middle, but we've got to be a bit sharp. We've got to be more alert of where the defender is, where the ball's going to come. We've got to get attack that ball and get it away before the striker does. I thought it was good striker instincts from Strand Larsen, who scored for Wolves. Then we go to Brentford's third goal, which was the Norgard goal. I think so much happened in that first half. It was either the Norgard goal or the Pinnock goal, but the same applies. I mean, I thought our delivery from set pieces in this game was so much better, and obviously we've wanted someone other than Brian to get on the score sheet, so it was absolutely brilliant to see deliveries coming in from Damsgaard. I thought his corner deliveries are great today. Brian as well when he took them. It was good to see other players getting on the score sheet, and obviously set pieces is something we're known for being good at. I think we've kind of fallen below that standard in the last few weeks, so it was absolutely great to see us scoring them types of goals again and not relying on Brian, which is obviously something else we spoke about. Obviously the Norgard goal again, great bit of thinking in the box. We take the shot at the right time. Norgard finds himself in space, and then we score. And at that point, for the first time in the game, we think we can get maybe an element of control now, because at the break we find ourselves 2 goals ahead, and it's just a very different vibe when you're 2 goals ahead, and you're able to control the game a bit more. Wolves, their heads might start to go down. They might start to lose confidence, obviously based on the start to the season they've had. And I thought the second half was much calmer. I think we restricted them to, I don't particularly remember Flecken making a brilliant save of note in the second half. I thought it was fairly even, but it suited us, given obviously the scoreline. And obviously towards the end, it was amazing to see KLP with a little bit of end product. He always looks good on the ball. He's always not afraid to take someone on, but obviously this time he cut inside, he got that shot away. And obviously, even if it doesn't always go in, there's always a chance that the keeper might be scrambling. And obviously then it fell to Carvalho for the 5th and for his first Premier League goal for the club, which again is good to see. It's good to see, especially from the attacker point of view. Obviously, Norgard, Pinnock and Collins, that they won't be scoring every week. But, we can expect more maybe week in, week out from the front three, and we don't just want to be relying on Brian for goals. Then I guess we get to the Wolves' third goal. I think, even the Wolves fan didn't really care that went in, but by the time that happened, so I guess we can forgive ourselves for maybe switching off a bit towards the end. I don't think Thomas Frank will. I think overall Thomas Frank will probably be a bit disappointed that we conceded 3. And saying from a Wolves perspective, they'll be wondering how they scored 3 and still lost the game by 2 goals. So overall, a good day. That brings us up to 9th in the table. 3 wins, 3 out of 4 wins at home, obviously with a draw in between. So unbeaten at home, we're getting the results I think we need to be getting. We're beating the teams that we can consider to be more our equals. And obviously our only defeats of the season remain very difficult away games against Tottenham, City and Liverpool, all of which, especially the City game, perhaps could have gone the other way on another day as well. So that's it for me today, but we will be back in the next couple of days for a full review podcast. See you later.